All right, let me hope each and everybody is fine as we wait for some people to join. Let me hope some people who are already on are hearing. That's what I expect. Yes, I can see the numbers increased a little bit. Today, let us be a little bit faster. I told you this time round, you'll see your teacher while teaching you. For the first time, you see the teacher when he's teaching you live. So let me hope the holiday is moving well. As the well, we are in our term X was cancelled a little bit. People are not in holidays. People are resting at home. We are following the ministry guidelines, but still we can meet at this time and we have to discuss a little bit, just like we are supposed to do. I told you the lesson will start at exactly 8, and indeed you are here. I've been preparing the studio a little bit. We need a blackboard where we can write, of course. Okay, today, as I promised you, we shall look at the major parts. If the sound is not clear, be free to comment. Send the comment. We shall be able to read. If for your case, you are not able to hear what we are trying to talk about. Maybe to clarify on this, we said we shall not use Zoom because there are times whereby people complain about the network. So I said, let us go for YouTube a little bit. This one is a little bit convenient. People are able to hear at the same time. Network does not disturb. Then at the same time, you can even see the teacher writing, and that's the most important thing in all. Yes, I promise you that we shall majorly, since we don't have time in third term, we shall majorly talk about the major parts. We don't have a lot of time to discuss in third term, but as we prepare for our exams, we shall majorly talk about the major parts. For example, what are some of the areas that we are supposed to correct? Sometimes when we are marking, what are some of the areas that you are supposed to correct? People's performance, according to the previous results, some of us never performed very well in all levels. However, we shall basically talk about two areas today. Then when we meet tomorrow or the other day, we shall talk about another area, which will be section A. Today, let us begin with section B, because these are the simplest areas that we always say that each and everybody can be able to get some marks from. However, at the end of it all, some of you make mistakes in these areas. The other one is about natural resources. Then this one is about industrial processes. Those are the two major areas. Before you open a paper, even before looking at section A, bright students always start with section B at any time. But when you have just opened the paper, these are some of the things that require you to memorize a little bit when you are revising them, as well as understanding. You have to memorize. Most especially section B part 1, that is all about industrial processes. You have read your extraction is very well, that is okay. But before and you have entered the exam, you have started writing. Then at the end of it all, as you write, you get exhausted and you get perturbed. You find somewhere whereby something disturbing you. Now, this thing that you are assuming to be hard, you've not written it down. At the end of it all, your mind, you don't forget it, but the mind gets disturbed a little bit, and you end up forgetting it. Now, for that matter, these are the areas that you are supposed always to give attention. Most of you, you enter the exam, and this is what comes into your mind. One, I'll go there and I write side effects and social benefits. And those are some of the mistakes you've been doing from the previous. I'll enter there and I only write social benefits. Okay, that is okay. Then most of you, this is what you said. I'll just write the impact. Then others just cram impacts that are not related to this process. My dear friends, we should correct this one to the maximum if we want better grades. Remember, what you write depends on what you read. So, as we are in holidays, let us not just be idle, let us not just move around, let us prepare. And let us try our best to revise as well as understanding, such that by the time we report to school, we shall be able to just polish a little bit. We shall just be available for consultations. I always share papers in your WhatsApp groups. Use them for some revision. All right, let me start with industrial processes. There is a major problem, mostly when we are talking about the social benefits of the process of production. We always say that when you are writing the social benefit of the process of production, please first read the scenario. The examiner who is giving you the scenario is targeting. We have a mentality. One, we cram the following. We cram social benefits, employment opportunities that leads to employment opportunities to workers, then the income, then you connect it to standards of living, which is okay. But let us try to upgrade the social benefits. We should not only cram employment opportunities. We have very many social benefits of the process of production. What if you cram employment opportunities and government is revenue, and now the scenario limits them? I've always been clear. The scenario can limit your answer because no one gives you the answer in the scenario. Now, when someone mentions that answer in the scenario, it means that you will not be able to write it down. The moment you write it down, it becomes a wrong answer. Okay, you've written a correct answer, but it is not correct. So it is not right at that particular moment. It is correct. Employment opportunities. Any manufacturing plant is a source of employment opportunities. But for that particular item, the answer will be wrong. Why? It has already been mentioned in the what? In the scenario. Take an example. Someone wants to construct an ethanol manufacturing plant, but has already told you that people have already benefited from these ethanol manufacturing plants, maybe in terms of employment, but they get employed. So they want to construct this ethanol manufacturing plant also somewhere. Now it means that in that item, someone has already limited you. Someone has already limited you. Now, for the case of employment opportunity, it is no longer a point that you are supposed to give. Those are some of the things that we are supposed to give attention. Ethanol manufacturing plant will no longer be a point for that particular case. That's point number one. So the employment opportunities, that's point number one. Then point number two, someone can also limit government's revenue, the one you are used to. Someone can limit it. Now, how are you going to survive? Now, the one that the person has limited, don't include it also, because no one gives you the answer in the scenario. Then another thing, when we are talking about these manufacturing plants in the social benefits, as you are trying, I think we talked about this one, but people didn't hear. As you are trying to talk about employment opportunities, try to mention some examples. I've always been clear. Now, if it is a school, the school is a source of employment, but that is okay. But to which particular people? That's when you talk about a teacher like me, Hassan Dipsok. For example, teachers. Is it okay? For example, cooks. Don't just say to workers. That is now, you have not given an example of the person being employed. So you have to give, if you are talking about employment opportunities, to who? Some in the industries, we have industrial chemists. I'm very happy with those people who always think broad and say that there are some drivers that are responsible for driving these goods to the markets. So those are people being employed and others. So you have to give examples of employees that are being employed in the factory. If you're talking about the other point, maybe let me explain that one. You have talked about employment opportunity, that is correct, to which people, maybe industrial chemists, afterwards, how are the industrial chemists going to benefit? They are going to get income. That is correct. But how are they getting that income? Through their salary. And they are being paid. They are getting income. And how are they using that income? We don't get income because we want to live, maybe we are poor. No. We don't get income because we don't have food. No. But there are times whereby we just improve on our standards of living. Those are some of the things that we have to look at. We improve on our standards of living. All those things must be given attention. We are talking. So as we talk about the other thing, we are getting income to improve. I can be able to get food, but at the end of it all, when I get that salary, I upgrade a little bit. Maybe I've been using a motorcycle, I go to the vehicle, I have improved in the standards of living. When you are talking about the other point of government is revenue, let us be clear. How is the revenue being collected? One, we are produced by the factory. There are times whereby we have pay as you earn to the workers. Workers pay tax, when we call pay as you earn, depending on your gross salary, depending on your taxable income, what are you getting? And that's what you are contributing. That's what you are contributing. That's what we are calling tax. But also, when you are explaining that point, government is revenue. I've always been clear, be clear. Don't just say government is revenue. Government is revenue. So let us try to be clear in that case and say that if it is government is revenue, that is through taxes imposed on the goods, that is number one. Then, in the same way, they can be, it can be pay as you earn on the workers. That is also another step when you are explaining that point. Then after, how is it going to benefit us? It is the income the government gets that helps in improving on social services, such as roads. We have medical care facilities. And you have to be very specific in your answering. That is those are social benefits. If you have any inquiry, please go to the comment section. I'll read it. I promise you that the answers will get them after the lesson. Okay? So go to the comment sections and you write there your questions. I'll be able to read them and I'll be able to reply. Then another thing, side effects, the ones we have crammed to the maximum, that when we are giving side effects, we should talk about maybe carbon dioxide gas, which is not the major point. I have some messages in the WhatsApp group. Let me try to post check. I see what those people are asking, because I've seen someone inquiring. Let us try to see these people, see what they are looking for, and we help them. You try to help them because they are asking some question in the WhatsApp groups, how to watch. Just tap that link in the WhatsApp group. It will be able to help you. Some side effects you have crammed, such as carbon. One, there are some manufacturing plants that do not release carbon dioxide. Maybe we shall be able to talk about some of these ones that release carbon dioxide. An example is ethanol. Now, ethanol releases carbon dioxide gas. That is correct. Ethanol releases carbon dioxide gas. But through which process? That is the conversion of glucose to ethanol and carbon dioxide gas. That's when you are able to try to mention that one a little bit. During the conversion or the decomposition of glucose to ethanol, carbon dioxide gas is released, which is a greenhouse gas. And some people have refused to correct that point. We don't mitigate carbon dioxide using catalytic converters because we have always said it's not a toxic gas. But what we do, today I'll talk about the ways of mitigating carbon dioxide gas. when we are in a factory and when we are talking about natural resources. When we're in a factory, you are trying to manufacture maybe ethanol. Where are you are decomposing from? There is an outlet. Now that outlet is the one that you are going to use to release that gas. Now let that outlet pass through an absorber of carbon dioxide. For example, we can talk about concentrated potassium hydroxide solution. And we are talking about concentrated potassium hydroxide solution. Now, the concentrated potassium hydroxide solution is the one which is going to absorb carbon dioxide gas. It reacts with it and absorbs it, such that the air which is, although the gases that are being released into the atmosphere, they are free from carbon dioxide. There you have mitigated your danger of global warming, and that is the major concept in that. Two, there are some people who normally like to collect the gas and reuse it, but maybe the collection may be very high. But so long as you pass the gas you are releasing through concentrated potassium hydroxide solution, to do what? To absorb carbon dioxide gas. That is a major concept. Then if you are natural resources, they are talking about burning of charcoal, burning firewood. Then at the end of it all, you have to think about it. If I'm burning charcoal, I cannot use concentrated potassium hydroxide that I'll pass the gas through concentrated potassium hydroxide. Someone is already burning charcoal from home. Now, how can you mitigate that one? Remember, we are talking about mitigating. By the time you plant down trees, it means that at the end of it all, you are going to plant down trees to absorb carbon dioxide. But there are some trees, at what time will they grow? That's the first question. By the time they grow, the gas has already accumulated in the what? In the atmosphere. So we are mitigating a problem after it has occurred, which is not recommended. We are supposed to eliminate the problem. We are supposed to prevent the problem from occurring. Just like we say, prevention is better than cure. So we are supposed to prevent global warming from occurring. If carbon dioxide is a greenhouse gas, and when its concentration increases in the atmosphere, it leads to global warming, that is okay. How can we limit this carbon dioxide from reaching the atmosphere? The major way of eliminating this carbon dioxide when we are in fuels, let us use alternative sources of fuel. After all, we study about them. We study about these sources of fuels. Sorry, let us use alternative sources of energy. We study about these sources of energy in our classes. That is carbon in environment in senior 2. We look at these sources of energy. We have solar, we have hydroelectricity. That one does not release carbon dioxide. Maybe someone can talk about ensuring low subscription to hydroelectricity, such that we stop people from burning charcoal. If each and every person in the house can be able to access this one, such that we can use it for cooking, then we have eliminated charcoal burning, and also carbon dioxide gas will not be released. You can see that point. So many people talk about charcoal burning and the carbon dioxide gas, which is a greenhouse gas, and therefore leads to global warming when its concentration increases in the atmosphere. Good impact. Very good impact. But at the end of it all, the mitigation, you come down and spread. Other people talk about the following things. One, they talk about catalytic converters. A catalytic converter works for a toxic gas, and carbon dioxide is not toxic. Others come and they have maliciously refused to leave that point of what? Of planting down fast growing trees. We don't say it is a wrong point, but at the end of it all, it does not bring up the meaning. We want to eliminate the problem. Seeing that point? Okay, I've corrected that one. Then at the same time, carbon dioxide, people correct it to acidic rain, which is not a major point for that case. people continuously correct it to acidic rain or acid rain. But the major gases that lead to acidic rain, we talk about nitrogen dioxide, we talk about sulfur dioxide. Because this carbonic acid being formed when carbon dioxide combines with water is somehow a weak acid. And even this impact of acid rain will not be seen. So the major danger that we talk about is global warming. Then others write and they say carbon dioxide is toxic gas in the danger. No. When we are talking about burning, the gas we expect to be produced, maybe if you are dealing with charcoal burning, the gas we expect to be produced and is toxic there as a result of carbon is carbon monoxide. There, if you write about carbon monoxide, again, don't mix it, don't connect it to global warming. Carbon monoxide, for it is toxic. And that's when we go for the mitigation, rating 1, catalytic converter. But also the catalytic converter works where someone is releasing carbon monoxide as a result of burning charcoal. There's no way you can assure somebody that after burning charcoal, I can introduce a catalytic converter if at all the stove has an outlet. But now we emphasize this point of catalytic converters to industries, maybe where there is a chimney to release the gas. Then also where there is a maybe in the exhaust pump of the vehicle. That's where we expect those things. The exhaust pump of the vehicle. I think that. Those are some of the points that we are trying to talk about. Okay. If you are talking about carbon monoxide gas in burning charcoal or firewood, this is the mitigation that maybe can work. Still alternative sources of energy. Solar energy, hydroelectricity. And what are you preventing? To prevent the release of carbon monoxide as a result of charcoal burning. The catalytic converter can maybe work if you are burning carbon-based fuels, for example, diesel vehicles. Now, those are some of the major points that we normally leave when we are talking about impacts in natural resources. We don't give them time. So the danger and the benefits. Now, when we in natural resources, for example, you're talking about trees, and at the end of it all, you have reached the point of giving the benefits. Okay, you have given the category of the natural resource. Many of you know that our category of the natural resource, we have to make sure that also the components are correct if you want to get all of the scores. You have said maybe they are trees. Trees are renewable natural resources. Correct category. Which reason? Because they cannot easily be replaced easily. Sorry, we are saying because they can easily be replaced. Renewable natural resources are resources that can easily be replaced. Then non-renewable, those are resources that cannot easily be replaced. Now we are talking about trees and we are saying that they are renewable. Why? They can easily be replaced by natural processes or naturally in the man's lifetime. When I'm still alive, they can be replaced. That is what we are calling renewable natural resources. Then trees are renewable natural resources. Then the impacts, we're talking about those elements that are found in trees. For example, carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, magnesium, chemical composition. Let the worker be organized. Then two, we are going to the impact. Now, when we are at the impact there, the human activity should be identified as a scenario. There are very many impacts when you relate them to natural resources. But at the end of it all, the human activity which is in the scenario, you should give it time. I've talked about charcoal burning in the scenario. I've set for you an item. And the activity is all about charcoal burning. And then for you, all of a sudden, you just say cutting down trees for timber. those activities are not connected. Even though charcoal burning also involves cutting down trees, but the major concept is charcoal burning, not timber. The trees are serving very many purposes, but at the end of it all, what is in the scenario? You should give it time. Many of us go against the scenario and we explain. If you go against the scenario, then the answers are very many. But to make the scenario to be direct and to show you what the person wants, that the human activity is in the scenario. Those are some of the things that you should do. Give time when you are reading. They are not hard. I've just come here to clarify today. And when you are answering them, give them time. Give them time. They are very easy. I expect a person to get everything in that item. As you keep on saying, the industrial processes are very many, so reading them, no. Those ones you can read. Sit down and read. But now, as you start with the one of industrial process, natural resources, don't rush. Make sure that you have got everything out of it. Since I've talked about the concept of impacts, I don't advise you to write only one impact. Make sure at least you have some 2 impacts that are well explained. And we don't always cram impacts. And when it comes to gases, we should stop making such mistakes. Maybe the gases that are toxic, we can talk about sulfur dioxide. If at all what maybe you are burning, or the process involves release of carbon dioxide. It works both in industrial processes and natural resources. Maybe if what you are burning has sulfur, and sulfur combines with oxygen to release sulfur dioxide, that one is toxic. Nitrogen dioxide is toxic. Carbon monoxide is also toxic. Carbon dioxide gas, not toxic. When we talk about acid rain, majorly we are talking about nitrogen dioxide gas and sulfur dioxide gas. Give them attention. Then the other thing maybe, when we are trying to talk about the natural resources, still we have what we call benefits of the natural resource. Now, we already said that the person setting the scenario has identified for you the problem in the scenario. People are carrying out charcoal burning. Charcoal, we are getting it from where? The trees. Now, as we cut down the trees, we are getting charcoal. Then we have reached the point and we are sensitizing the public to stop charcoal burning. You have told them the category of the natural resource, that is correct. You've given the reason. You have talked about the chemical composition of natural resource, perfect, good student. And you have also mentioned the impact. Now you are telling them the danger of charcoal burning. You explaining, and at the same time, how can we prevent it? How can we prevent the danger of charcoal burning? If it is global warming, how can we prevent global warming? How can we eliminate it completely? Maybe using alternative sources of energy, hydroelectricity. That is correct. But you have reached the point of benefits. The benefits you are rating should be in hand in hand to prevention of charcoal burning, to prevention of cutting down trees. How? When I'm giving the benefit, again, we know very well that trees are burnt to get charcoal, which is used for cooking. But again, I should not tell the person that now trees are cut down to get what charcoal, or branches are burnt such that we get what charcoal. No, because there you are again telling people the uses of charcoal burning, and yet we want them to stop. So in that case, what do? We employ other uses of trees when you leave them upright. For example, and some people have failed to correct this, but I hope today you'll correct it. For example, these trees, when we leave them upright, before cutting them down, how are we benefit? One, sources of, they provide, they release oxygen gas. Now, the oxygen gas, which is used during the process of what? Respiration. To get that oxygen, we don't need to first cut down the trees. That one is already a use, and it's a chemistry use, because oxygen is in chemistry. It's during the process of respiration. You are supporting life. Now, the danger is well explained. When you leave them upright, you prevent soil erosion, and then you explain your point. At the same time, when you leave them upright in senior 2, we looked at the water cycle. Trees help in the formation of rain. How? Through the process of transpiration. That one doesn't need you to first cut down trees. By the time you tell that one, you have already prevented chaff, but someone has already known the uses of trees before cutting them down. Okay, that's what we have ended with. If you have any question, leave it in the comment section. For today, I wish you the best. Maybe let us end here. Let us meet in the WhatsApp groups and we try to text one another so that we can be able to reply and we can be able to find their question is. I've been Hassan Diksok, as usual, your chemistry teacher. Let me end here for today. I wish each and every person the best. Let us meet tomorrow that day so that we look at section A. Then after, we be handling item by item, as well as we shall be writing on the blackboard. So as we write, we shall be trying to explain a little bit. We shall get time also and we look at the calculative part of chemistry. That is the moral concept. We shall calculate and we see some of those parts that become hard for you. I want to end here for today. I wish each and everybody a good night.